Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing Dangote, and I think our guest is still in the Abuja studio. Mr. Calvin, are you still there?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
So Abigail has a question. Go ahead, Abigail.
Okay, Mr. Kevin, citing the Dangote Cement incident, you know, when Dangote Cement came, you came with a very flowery module for people to patronize. And at some point, the Dangote Cement gained ground and eradicated most competitors. And at some point, it became too hard for the consumers to actually patronize the Dangote Cement. This is looking too flowery. So how long is this going to be? Is this something that's sustainable? Saying that, according to the news, you have 100 CNG buses that will be infused into the different states. If you do this calculation, you're going to see that you have like 2 CNG buses to a state, or about 3 of it. How sustainable is this? And what's the end game for Dangote?
Well, you keep saying end game. First of all, you know, this is not cement, this is refinery. But if I was going to bring back that question you asked about cement, let's focus on the facts. I think the Dangote Cement Company has about maybe 30 to 57% market share, which means there are other players in the market. There's BUA. BUA manufactures cement. BUA has plants all over Nigeria. There is Mangal. You know, there's even a cement that is smuggled into Nigeria. I think they call Mango. I don't know. There's Elephant Lafarge. Yes, that manufactures cement wholesale. I think they sold recently. So when you say monopoly, I don't understand, because there are other companies that manufacture cement at scale and that compete fiercely with Dangote. So the argument on him being a monopolist in the cement business, I don't understand how that holds exactly.
No, he has. We're in Nigeria now.
Monopoly.
So you know, when you talk like this, it's you're coloring. It's like you're saying, because we
if you are calling someone a monopoly, if you're calling someone a monopoly, you're trying to say that he's the only one dominating that sector.
At some point, he was.
Several other companies that manufacture cement at scale. On the question of price,
he was 2 years ago.
The inflation has affected the supply chain for manufacturing cement.
Okay.
So definitely price has gone up. And he's not the only one selling cement at the prices he's selling cement. You know, but I wanted to answer your question about CNG. And this is also because the president set up the presidential initiative on CNG and seeded them initially with about 200 billion naira. And I've always said that the challenge CNG has in Nigeria, because you have CNG gas to transport, then you have CNG gas to power. And I've said the gas to power layer is viable as a commercial concern. The gas to transport vehicle is only viable for vehicles that has engine displacement above 2,000 cc. Okay? And the fact that Dangote has decided to invest in infrastructure for daughter stations, which are smaller CNG stations, to be able to compress lean gas that has been treated and dried and separated as methane into compressed natural gas to power those 4,000 trucks he's brought in, that has cost him about $250 million to acquire, along that corridor, aligns with the presidential CNG initiative. You know, CNG is 40% cheaper than diesel. CNG doesn't emit carbon gases like diesel emits. Okay? So it's sustainable. It aligns with UN Sustainable Development Goals on carbon control, right? And it's going to create jobs. You have 4,000 drivers that will be employed. You have mechanics. You have engineers that will be employed to manage those CNG plants. You have another 8,000 support staffs that the drivers will need.
We have a lot of questions for you, sir.
So 15,000 jobs that are being created by this.
I have a few more questions for you. Go ahead.
CNG, actually, you have 100 CNG buses for this distribution. How will this be done? Because
not 100, not hundreds. 4,000 CNG trucks, not 100 CNG buses.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, point taken. Go ahead.
All right. So I feel that to a large extent, you've helped us to understand that it makes economic sense, because at first it was the narrative that we were hearing from the Dangote group is that it was altruistic, out of the love for Nigeria, to help Nigerians going through challenges, and that just, as an economist, you know that it just doesn't make it doesn't add up.
Morayo, there is nowhere where I've said that
I didn't say you.
Based on perception, based on perception.
Okay.
I wasn't specifying that you. I was saying you have given us clarity that it made business sense, because before now, in the news, it was made to look like he's out of this love and passion for Nigerians, to help Nigerians not to suffer, that he has made those decisions he's made.
Morayo, is it not love for Dangote to, put his other businesses at risk?
It's
invest $20 billion in capital that no commercial entity has done in the history of this country for 40 years.
It's business.
Yeah, go through the risk he did.
It's business.
Build a refinery for over 7 years. Yeah, it's business. It has to be love, because there are other businessmen that take their monies out of Nigeria and store in offshore havens. He would have done that. Or he would have decided to build a refinery somewhere else in the world and then have the products imported into Nigeria. He would have done that. But he built it in Nigeria, which is a very difficult terrain to invest in.
Yeah.
So love is a factor. Okay,
We
point
agree.
taken. So let's drop the love matter. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so what I would like to understand is, if we are operating based on the fact that there's patriotism and love, and he's making a business decision to debunk or diffuse or reduce the power of the cabal, this group of people who are profiteering off Nigerians and stressing him and his business model, how do we ensure that in solving one problem, we have not created another problem? Where other companies, Petron had said that the move by Dangote is going to make them have to lay off some workers, is because you are making a list of the number of people that Dangote would be employing. How about the number of people who this new move will be taking out of employment? How about the investors who have done filling station and have brought in transportation trucks that would also be now affected by this move? That are we ensuring that in creating solving one, we're not making another one?
We're not making another issue.
Morayo, I wanted to take you down memory lane, but I'll answer this question quickly, then I'll take you back. Dangote says that if you buy 500,000 liters of petrol, minimum offtake quantity, MOQ, it's going to offer you a credit facility. There's nowhere in the world where a refiner offers any retailer downstream credit facility.
But these are market integration moves. These are market integration moves. You want
another 500? Yes, they are market integration moves. But what I'm trying to tell you is that he's supporting station owners. He's supporting station owners to grow. And this is also going to encourage new entrants to come in. Because if you're able to take 500,000 liters and get another 500,000 liters on credits, then it's game on for people who actually want to do business and don't want to profit from arbitrage. Now, let me take you on memory lane. Nigeria went from PPMC to PPRA. There was a time in Nigeria when the regulator will set and say, this is how much petrol Nigeria is consuming. And then the government will approve for XYZ number of barrels, which is equivalent to that consumption. Now, that daily consumption volume does not have an empirical evidence because NMDPRA today does not have a framework for measuring how much liters Nigeria actually consumes. They'll take this crude oil out of Nigeria, right? And then they will give it to 13 refineries under the oil processing agreement. The refineries will now bring back the equivalent of the white transportation fuels to Nigeria. So if they lie about how much petrol they consume, then it means that you need more crude oil to be able to get it. These are what they call crude oil swaps. They moved on to direct sale, direct purchase, where it moved from offshore refineries to commodity traders. You give out Nigeria's crude oil to commodity traders, they will bring back petrol which doesn't even meet up with the regulatory standard that has been set in the PIA, sections 317, 11 of the PIA, on sulfur limits. We now move to vendor financing program. In fact, last year, news came out that NNPC Trading was owing $6.8 billion to these commodity traders who were doing this crude oil swap with the government. You've now moved from an era where Nigeria was swapping its crude oil for white transportation fuels in a regime that didn't have transparency and clarity on quality, quantity, and equality of volumes. because there was so much products that were diverted. Not all the products came to Nigeria. And the reason I can tell you that is because the regulator is owing a lot of the marketers bridging allowances. And the reason why you cannot pay bridging allowances is because what you're telling Nigerians are consuming daily, which currently has dropped to 49.8 million liters, and is not true, is not equivalent to how much revenue that has been generated. Because if the claim is not equal to the 1% or 10 naira per liter that is generated from each liter of petrol consumed, then it means that your daily consumption numbers are false. We've now moved to a point where Nigeria has an actual commercial refinery and Nigerians can benefit from it. And in order for Nigerians to benefit from it, Dangote has said, we're going to boycott the people who has engineered this process for more than 25 years and has created distortions and variations in the market and deliver products directly to the station and retail owners who want to do actual sales of the products, not arbitrage opportunity in the middle.
Okay.
And this is what you have today.
So, Mr. Kevin, let me ask you, what do you predict is going to happen in this sector with Dangote now distributing? Let's say they take off the distribution and it's being distributed for free. What do you think the marketers will now begin to do to survive in this sector if they still want to play in this? And how will it affect Nigerians, the consumers?
That is an excellent question. What you're going to have is, number one, you're going to have stability of supply. You're never going to come to a point where you'll see fuel queues like you used to have, because all those fuel queues were hoarding strategies and all kinds of mafia strategies to profit from arbitrage and disagreements that were had internally between players in the sector. You're never going to have a point where marketers, for example, can hold a commercial refiner hostage. But look, if the marketers want to come to the table, it's very simple. They should align with the new regime. The market has evolved.
Okay.
Change is the only constant thing in life.
All
Okay?
right.
If they don't want to align with the new regime by registering their retail stations that quite a number of them have control over, to take products directly from him without all the middlemen racketeering, they should form a consortium together, bring all the offshore money they have, and build a refinery to compete with Dangote. It's as simple as that.
All right, thank you. I like how nicely put you have made us understand this, but I want to align with Tokwe when she talked about some of the challenges. So many accidents have been linked to Dangote trucks over the years. 4,000 more CNG buses pumped into the transport system in Nigeria. What impact will this have on the transport system of Nigeria? How do you plan to handle that, considering the traffic situation in Lagos and other parts of the road, bad roads and all that? How do you think this will impact the transport system?
Well, there are quite a number of other trucks that companies that run fleets across Nigeria, and accidents happen every day. God bless rest the soul of everyone that have lost their lives along the way. These things happen, They are not things that you plan for. They are not things that you envisage. They are not things that you're happy when you hear that they happen, So it's what is part of the hazard of running a system where you don't have perfect infrastructure. Nigeria has more than 100,000 kilometers of road to do, But what Dangote is doing, because energy security is very critical to any nation's survival. You can see what is going on between Israel and Iran. And one of the things that the Israeli Air Force, IDF, is doing is it's taking out the energy supply of Iran as a way to decapacitate the ability of the Iranian military to respond. Because he knows that if he takes out all the energy supply, which is very critical, energy is so sensitive that energy security has bearings with the Office of the National Security Advisor in Nigeria. Okay? You can decapacitate an entire country by taking out its energy security. So, on the issue of the load on the road, people buy trucks every day. It's going to have increasing pressure, but you have to look at the cost-benefit analysis. What's the benefit?
I have to go
as compared to what the pressure will be, or what the impact will be of 4,000 trucks on Nigerian roads.
I have to go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll come and conclude with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.